the article that you dropped about what's happening with college sports tomorrow. I led Nothing Personal with it this morning, but we wanted to talk in more detail with you right now about it, because I think people are underselling how epic this is, that a bunch of guys have gotten together thinking they can replace the NCAA, but they only want to do it for football. And I'm not sure that there's a lot of focus on the fact that this announcement, so please tell the audience about the announcement or what you discovered in this piece.
Yeah, so there's a group that, I first heard about during Super Bowl, led by Len Perna, who runs Turnkey, which basically recommends all the conference commissioners and other jobs around college sports. And then also Brian Rolap was involved. So Rolap's name is important because he's the number 2 at the NFL. If Roger Goodell were ever to retire, Rolap would be at the top of the list to possibly replace him. He's also the mastermind behind all their TV deals that add up to $110 billion. So, that gets people's attention. And so they're working with presidents. We spoke to the president of West Virginia, president of Syracuse. They talked about how the current system is dead. And so the big thing that's going on that, in our reporting that, I knew about, but kind of became even clearer are the lawsuits that the universities are facing in terms of NIL when you go back, and the amount of money they could owe. There's likely going to be a settlement. But, a lot of people have talked about, a word that starts with a B, as in boy, as in billions. And so, if that happens, then, we know there's going to be a shakeup in college football, but how is it going to play out? And this group have a lot of influential leaders in sports. They are trying to put together a plan, and have put together a plan, and are continuing to work on a plan that they think would be the best way forward for all the FBS teams, which are 130 teams right now, plus 130 plus teams.
Yeah, you say best way forward, and I say relegation. And that may be tomato, but we can debate relegation and promotion. But what their plan is, what some of the commissioners of the Power 5 conferences have wanted, which is basically, we'll take a bye. And I don't mean a bye to the CFP. I mean a bye that we can never be relegated. We'll always be in the top 70. And then we'll let the lesser FBS schools fight it out in the 8th division, and we'll do promotion relegation from there. And that's an interesting way of putting a committee together and just saying, all right, Tony Petitti, you guys have the power, and we're going to give you even more of it. And I'm wondering, when in your reporting, how do you feel about relegation? Because in North America, we've never seen it, and I'm not sure with TV deals that it could ever actually happen. Where is your head on that?
I think their plan that they have actually makes a lot of sense when you're being realistic. If you look at it, so the way it would set up is that there would be a top division made up of eight divisions within it, and 10 teams each. So that adds up to 80. There'd be 70 teams, like you mentioned, that are permanent. And so you have the 68 that were in the former Power 5, counting the Pac-12, and then Notre Dame, and then probably SMU. And then the rest of the teams would be in the second division with 10 spots reserved for them in the top division, and they'd be able to fight to get into that. And then you get promoted. And then if you were to finish at the bottom of the standings, you'd move down, which, we look at European football, it creates a lot of excitement for those teams. I understand what you're saying. It should be an even playing field, but if you're Alabama, Notre Dame, or any of the top programs, it's just not, I don't think that's realistic to say, okay, even though you probably wouldn't ever be in jeopardy, you'd want that guaranteed. You couldn't take that chance. That's why, this is patterned in some regards after MLS, which the way MLS ownership works is you own a percentage of the league. You don't own a team, which makes it so they work as one entity. And that's why this makes sense. In MLS, as a soccer person who loves soccer, I mean, what hurts MLS is they don't have relegation and promotion because people spend so much money to get these teams, and they don't want to take the chance, like that happens in Europe, that you could spend a lot of money and then have a top team or club get relegated. So I hear your point, but I just think that if you're being realistic, you're never going to really get these top programs to agree to anything like that.
My concern is that the teams that get relegated, the impact would be on non-football sports because there is a financial implication to being relegated. And if there's not, then it's not actually relegation. So I assume part of the plan
Yeah, but it wouldn't
includes
be
the
an
loss of
equal
money.
playing field. Yeah, but it wouldn't be equal. Like Alabama and Notre Dame in this plan would make more money than other schools, and they based it on a formula that they're putting together in terms of your ratings, in terms of a bunch of factors. And I think you have to have it that way because if they were going to work, and something that really needs to be pointed out is that the power right now, and the people who probably are going to make the decisions are the SEC with Greg Sankey, the Big Ten with Tony Petitti, and both of those men are the commissioners of those conferences, and then the networks, especially Fox and ESPN, because they have the power. They have long-term deals for billions of dollars, and so as you go forward, they're the ones also with the best teams, so they could actually kind of do what they want, and they already have an alliance that they're looking at it, an advisory alliance, where they're working together. Now, obviously, that could lead to, and a lot of people pointed to the SEC and the Big Ten kind of creating an AFC and NFC. I think the danger for that, in my opinion, is that you might kill the rest of college football. And do you really want to be the ones to do that? I don't know. That would be a little too greedy in my eyes. And so, how do you go forward? How do you include everybody? And I understand what you're saying in terms of the financial implications. I mean, obviously, that's something they're going to have to figure out if you could go up or down. But I also think, football is different than other sports. You can't really have a Cinderella in football to go all the way and win a championship. It's just not realistic, just to how the game is played, the power, the strength, and the speed that the top players have as compared to the lower players. And so I don't think I think you would create with this a system where there would be something to play for at every level, and that interest throughout the sport for the whole year would be maintained. Now, the other problem I think with the plan, though, is the idea that it would create so much more television value, that they get so much more money. I don't know. I don't see that. I do think it's a better plan than the hodgepodge kind of that we have now with all the different conferences and the games at different times. But I don't know if you're going from 3 million people watching to 9 million people watching. I don't see that 3x difference because I just think there's only so many great matchups, even if you
Right.
have a better system.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.